audience, welcome to the Radiant Eclipse MLP Talk Show. This is episode 9, recorded on Friday, June 8th, 2012. My name's Vanacus, and I'll be your guide through this wonderful world of rainbow-colored equins. Please put your hosts together for this week's co-hosts.
Hello everyone, I'm Vigilant Watch. I write a couple stories, do a couple audio things, and generally just hang around on EFR.
I'm Lockout Phoenix, and I'm just that guy that hangs around the community talking to other people.
Every week we start off the show by introducing our special guest. This week's show features the Brony mastermind behind the amazing ponification of Final Fantasy VI, Boss Man John. Welcome to the show.
Hey everybody, I'm Boss Man John. Mostly just a lurker. I finally kind of came out, with this project. Really the first thing I ever kind of put out there. So, yeah, kind of new to all this attention. First question, who's my favorite character? It's a tough one, but I'm going to lean towards Applejack. I know Applejack doesn't get a lot of love, and I think Twilight Sparkle is a little bit more like me. But Applejack, I think, is probably the most realistic pony in terms of what you could be. She doesn't have, the magic or the wings, but, through hard work and perseverance, she always gets it done. Of course, my favorite episode, I'm gonna have to say Applebuck Season. That was the episode that really convinced me that My Little Pony was a good show. Specifically, when they were making the baked bads. When Pinkie Pie said chocolate chips, like in that psychedelic voice, that was the moment that sold me right there. And the thing that I enjoy the most about the fandom is the fact that the creativity, everyone can basically just say, hey, I want to put something out there for everyone else to enjoy. And it seems to be met with just positivity.
This is Vigilant again. I basically just tend to lurk around, but I have been doing a bit of writing. I'm working with Chaotic Harmony on a small little EFR show where we're going to be reading a couple fan fictions. News to come in the coming weeks. My favorite character as of now is probably Rainbow Dash, mostly because of her determination and loyalty to her friends, even when it means, she can't do what she wants to do. Favorite episode? I kind of went through one big marathon, so any specific episode I don't exactly remember, but I certainly enjoyed the character changes present in Pinkie Pie during Party of One, because Party of One was awesome, and the entire Spike interrogation was just hilarious. I love how I used to never like getting involved into any particular projects, and now that I'm part of the Brony community, I'm doing this, and I'm getting involved with Chaotic Harmony, and I'm writing stories, and I'm getting involved again, and it's great for my social life, so
yay! My name is Lockout Phoenix. I don't exactly do too much in the community besides, just lurk around talking to the hosts of stuff like Final Draft. I sort of talk to him every now and then on Skype, and of course Vanacus. Without him, I wouldn't be on the show.
Without him, none of us would be on the show. There wouldn't be a show.
Who is my favorite character? I would have to say Luna, because when I get excited over anything, I tend to be insanely loud. And because of that, people are like, oh, this guy's kind of, So I get even louder.
And if I'm not giving the laughs I want, I get louder!
And my favorite episode would obviously be, Luna Eclipsed? Because, Luna is best pony, and so is that episode. And the thing I enjoy most about this fandom is probably the music. It's definitely got me to do a bunch of my homework, which, if you don't really want to do your homework anyways, it sort of pushes you to do it, because you're like, oh, I get to listen to this cool music while I do this horrible, horrible stuff.
I can actually vouch on that. Just about every major 10-page college essay I've had to do for my World Civ class, I was jamming to some EverFree Radio, so I really do like the music created by our community as well.
I can't, sit down at my computer now without putting on my headset and unmuting EFR. I never let it stop, because dang it, the music is good. Even though I'm not necessarily a fan of all the genres, it's still good, and I still like it.
What I usually do is I listen to it, and I listen to the 320 kilobits high-quality stream via VLC media player. And when a really good song comes up that I like, I open up their main page, copy and paste the song name, and then on my free time, I hunt down the original song for it, download it, and then I archive all my favorite songs, so that way I can listen to them offline. Or if a song comes up that I don't want to listen to, I can change it to something I want to listen to. And that's usually what I do. And so that way, when you're offline, you have access to all of your favorite songs. And if there's a song you don't like, vote it down. If there's a song you like, vote it up. That's kind of like the joy of the EverFree streaming. And it's a good system.
Going off on that tangent, EverFree is so nice because if you like a song, you can tell the station, hey, play this more. And if you don't like a song, you can say, no, I don't like this. Don't play it again. But I still like it how the community is able to choose what they want to listen to. And that's really nice of EverFree Radio to offer that. They're going to say, okay, Yes, we're the radio station, but you guys can pick what you want to listen to, so have fun.
Now that everyone's been introduced, it's time to start the show. So every week we set aside some time to learn about our guests and how they became the awesome bronies we know. So John, how did you become a brony?
I was playing World of Warcraft when the show kind of started getting big, and it was kind of brought to my attention on the MMO Champion forums for World of Warcraft. They had I think it was called the My Little Pony Mega Thread, and people were just talking about it like crazy. So I'm like, well, what's this about? And I've enjoyed good animation, for a long time, like Tiny Toon Adventures, Animaniacs, Batman. And I'm like, all right, I'll tell you what. If so many people tell me it's good, I will give it a shot. So I found Pensive Pony's YouTube channel. Just took me about 4 episodes to really be convinced that it was really good. Of course, after that, watched everything in order.
What compelled you to mod Final Fantasy VI?
There was a few things that came together at the same time to really push me towards it. It was right around the time when Hero of Time 1000 released his Pony Pokey Panic. I'm like, this looks awesome, but there's no way I could do that. And then I saw someone had drawn some fan art for the main 6 fighting Celestia, and it was clearly an homage to, the final fight with Kefka in Final Fantasy VI. And I'm like, oh man, that'd be great if somebody did that. And then I'm like, let me look a little further. And wouldn't you know it, there's a website called ff6hacking.com. And I'm like, all right, challenge accepted. There was a lot of tools. The game has been pulled apart, well documented. There's all sorts of utilities to make it easier, so you don't have to basically write in machine language. And I first started out by editing the Twilight Terra into Twilight Sparkle. Once they started getting some frames done, and I said, okay, I can do this. It was a long process, but that was pretty much where I felt like I could do it. And then I put myself on YouTube to kind of force myself to finish, and wouldn't you know it, it's out. You can play it.
Who or what was most helpful in making your project a success?
I made a point to thank a lot of people on my website. I think YouTube user The Madseer was very helpful. He had a lot of YouTube tutorials that showed me how to do the really technical stuff that you had to do by hand, which is basically writing Game Genie codes, I guess is the best way I could compare it to.
Like using hexadecimals and changing values.
You're laying hexadecimals down, and you literally have to just make notes of what means what in each context. That was the key. And then the other one was probably the Final Fantasy III US multi-editor application by Lord J, I believe. Between those two things, that's what made the whole thing possible.
What aggravated you the most in this project? What challenged you?
There were several things. I think writing the event code to recruit Derby aggravated me the most. I didn't realize just how many things you had to consider when you add a new character to the party. There's a lot of flags that you have to assign. You have to say, okay, assign this sprite, put this color palette on this sprite, and then 10 other things after that, and it was very challenging. That was the worst. I spent the most time on that.
Now that your project is mostly finished, what was your favorite moment in development?
I would say when I finished the custom scene at the beginning of the game there, where Twilight and Celestia have their little talk, and I kind of introduced the Espers in a new way. I pretty much touched every part of the game, and some were more rewarding than others. I would say the new boss AIs were really cool, because I didn't want to just copy the ones that had already been shared. I'm just let me see what they're teaching me and then try to do my own. I could have made them harder, but I also wanted people to finish the game, so kind of held back a little bit. So that was really cool too.
And you could always make, for example, I think you made Chrysalis the secret boss fight. You could have intentionally made that one super extremely difficult for those players who wanted the extra challenge.
That's what that fight's going to be all about. She's totally on the side there. The Kaiser Dragon is actually going to be released probably by the time everyone hears this. Unfortunately, I couldn't just copy-paste him in, because Lord Envoy, the AI scriptwriter that basically taught me everything that I know about AI scriptwriting, coded that one, but his patch didn't work with my version, so I had to look at what he did and basically redo it by hand and then change it a little bit so that it would work properly. Look forward to that one if you thought the game was too easy.
What was your favorite scripted cinematic event? Which set of dialogue was the funniest to write?
Everything with Princess Luna. I think my favorite part was after the rap fight with Ultros, when she says, "How many experience points do we receive?" That was probably my favorite line of dialogue to write.
I don't know, I never really got into Final Fantasy, but as soon as I hear Luna, I'm like, oh, Jumping in.
Luna's a really strong character, too. You'll like her. Including the originals, not just the ones that I did. Probably when you recruit Pinkie Pie. That was a really funny one.
Final Fantasy VI was one of the few games I didn't play because I didn't know it existed for the longest time because of the weird numbering system between the Japanese versions and the American ones. So somehow in the middle of it all, I learned because I played the SNES ROMs, I got them all mixed up in the wrong order. Wasn't Final Fantasy VI the American Final Fantasy III? And then when the Final Fantasy III, the Japanese one, came out on the DS and stuff, I completely mistook it. It was a mess.
I think the Angry Video Game Nerd did a whole video about that.
So yeah, I actually know very little about the actual plot of that game. And so actually playing the mod of it, I'll probably enjoy it more as a pony game than as a Final Fantasy game because I won't see the correlation or similarities.
I'm just happy that it's an actual SNES ROM so I can actually put it on my SNES cart and play it on my SNES. I have a dev cart, so I'm going to totally put it on there and I'm totally going to play it on the actual cart. Total non sequitur, but they actually sell SNES controllers for the PC.
Now that our interview is complete, it's time for us to move on with some discussions. Our program will feature 3 main topics: official news, fandom news, and a segment for some critical thinking. I'll cover the first topic, our guest will cover the second, and our co-hosts will conclude with our last. This week's news came from the front page of Equestria Daily. It's a video made by the PBS Idea channel, and here's their message. Are bronies changing the definition of masculinity? So, what do you guys think?
Well, I watched the video when it was first posted to EverFree Radio's website. Actually, I think I got it through Twitter. I forget. Anyways, I first watched it when it came out, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, he's gonna bash it. But then he starts talking extremely positively about the Brony fandom. And what I saw in this video was a little precursor to what I hope the documentary will be able to do. Not necessarily answering the question of whether bronies are a good thing, but more saying, here's what they are. What do you think? He goes into the, what we're doing as a community. That's, he's basically like, these are just average guys that really love this show and everyone tries to attack them, but they're not really trying to attack. They're just changing what masculinity means. And then he goes into a little bit of a discussion on gender roles and, whether women are better than men and this whole, that pink used to be a guy color, blue used to be a girl color, this whole spiel. And then he says, are bronies changing that definition? And he ends on a good point, and I don't remember how he phrased it exactly, but he basically said that society creates these gender roles, but they're extremely flexible, and we shouldn't pigeonhole ourselves into them.
I, for one, hate the idea of gender definition. I think that they're just false limiters that are really just obsolete in today's society. But to answer the question more directly, I would say yes, because his point was that society tends to accept what is usual as normal, and if enough people are willing to say, listen, I like this, deal with it, it becomes the new normal, and it's kind of like a big reset button.
Right, and I think what was more confusing to Hasbro is actually, producing the show with Studio B, DHX Media, LTD. When they're actually producing the show, there's definitely a higher female presence in the first season among the background characters and who's shown on screen. But if you look in season 2, you'll actually see that there's just as many male background characters as there are female ones. And they've really rounded out what used to be a landslide majority. And even though the main show will always be about the 6 female protagonists, which there's nothing wrong with. I think that's great. But what I like to see is that they are more taking into consideration the family demographic as opposed to the target demographic. And knowing that their show is accepted across all margins and all borders is extremely important, and I'm glad that they're realizing this.
No, what I would like to see, if they added some sort of male character, is Blitzflare, my OC, and my baby pet Phoenix Legion.
I would faint if I've seen any of the fan-made characters show up in the show.
I didn't even know this, but my pony Sona, the character that I use for the show, that was originally helped designed by Quizzy, aka Salvatris, helped design my OC character, but I just realized that he shares the same color scheme of a background pony named Blue Star, a Pegasus, and you can see him on like the Sonic Rainboom episode and some of the season 2 ones. Also, I think he's in the Valentine's Day episode, but I didn't even realize this, and people were like, oh, he must be based off of this character. I'm like, he was based off of a character? What? So yeah, there's apparently a Pegasus character that has similar coloration.
It's very interesting that you mentioned that, because when I first started watching like season 1 and season 2, I probably didn't do the smartest thing, but during finals week, I ran a marathon at midnight, just viewing episode after after episode because I got hooked hard. And I'm sitting through it and I'm trying to logic out, like, why is this show so good for me? And I was thinking, well, maybe the, editors and writers behind this want to make it so that it's something that parents can let their kids watch and don't feel like they have to leave the room and go watch football. I don't know if that's just me, but that's what I think is kind of going on, is that we're seeing that this is a very well-written show, not necessarily targeted for us, but the writers are not insulting the intelligence of the parents that have to be in the room.
And Sibsy, who's a storyboard artist for Studio B, she pretty much admitted that in some of the interviews
Exactly.
she's done on EFR, and I think that's awesome.
Of course, Sibsy has the honor and distinguishment of having gotten her own OC into the show. Of course, she's in a special position to do that, but it was actually pretty cool. And I think that even that, I mean, sure, she works for the show, but it's still a fan shout out because it's like, hey, we're adults, we like our own show, and we get in it. Literally, I drew this frame and I'm in it.
I think the good cartoons are the ones that you could still watch, 20 years later. I mean, who couldn't go back and watch, like the Looney Tunes? Or if it's good, it's good. I think it was Lauren Faust who said that quality has no audience. We just make the show good, and that's it.
Are Bronies really changing the definition of masculinity? And I would have to say that is true. And maybe not more so of what masculinity is, but what is accepted to be feminine or masculine by the public has drastically changed over the last year and a half when this was all taken into question.
I would agree with you on that, Vanacus. It seems as if maybe it's unintentional. Maybe we're not trying to do it. As a whole, Bronies are certainly tending to, for lack of a better word, buck the system and just trying to say, well, yes, of course, your gender definition doesn't fit this, but I don't follow that. I just say it's a good show. I watch it. I enjoy it. You have a problem with that? Talk to my manager or go away. Both work.
The way that you explained it, which I cannot word again because, whatever, that sort of changes the point of view if the question, are Bronies changing the definition of masculinity? Like, the way you said it is, to me, was a totally different point of view than that question. Like, the way it's explained, like I said before, I really don't think there is a exact definition. It's your choice to be this way. Hey, I can do it my way. If you don't like it, well, that sucks, because there's a few other people that do this too.
So if you guys want to be sure who they're marketing to, look at the commercials for the toys. You will see their target demographic. Now, look at the commercials for the episodes. Those are targeted towards everyone. I think this is a clear marketing goal for Hasbro. The toys will and always will be marketed for their target demographic. Although they are warming up to us, as we can see with the Nightmare Moon and Trixie and Sakura toys that we're seeing being produced, and the convention-exclusive Derpy Hooves. So they are warming up to them. But still, first and foremost, Hasbro is a toy company, and My Little Pony is primarily marketed to younger girls. And the toy commercials will reflect this. However, if you go on the hub and you see commercials for My Little Pony, like with that retro 8-bit commercial that Jason Thiessen was all over, I don't even have any doubts about that, because he's a huge retro gaming fan. Or the We're No Pushovers commercial that the hub had with Fluttershy taking down the bear. It's just like, you can tell they're obviously trying to get everyone interested into the show. And you can tell that they're making the show available to everyone while keeping the toys trying to focus toward their core demographic. And I think that striking the right balance between those two is why they're doing so successful right now.
Okay, this is Bossman John here again. The topic I chose for this segment is the Double Rainboom fan animation by Zachary Rich, the first full-length episode made by the fans. Zach warmed us up with his short present prank and his professionally made comic, The Ballad of Mecha Pinkie Pie. He's pulled together a team of over 30 people to make Double Rainboom possible, and the animatics and samples already look amazing. My question for discussion is, what did you guys enjoy about the animatic the most, and do you think that they can produce an episode that can match the quality of the actual show?
Short answer, yes.
I saw a present prank, and that was actually pretty cool. And I saw Gummy at the end, so that made me happy.
I know they have what it takes because this group does nothing but professional quality animations. And even the scoring of the audio tracks is good. Maybe the voice acting could use some work, but then again, they could always hook up with some of the better voice actors in our community, so I don't think that'll be an issue. I think that was more of just for the sake of wanting to share the animatic and just having them throw something together. Because we've seen so much with just the demo, I think the final product is going to be even greater. Now, I do remember talking about this either on Equestrian Tides before we did our show on EFR, or maybe it was even a very early episode of Radio Eclipse. But I do remember us talking about about this, and still just the thing that blows my mind about this is the facial expressions and how spot on they are to what we would expect from the show. And I think that just how alive the characters seem is what really makes it or breaks it as far as animations are concerned. Because the thing we like about the animations is how they become believable is if you can personify your characters. And personify means to make relatable to as if they were actual people. And if you can find stuff in the characters that you can relate to, that is a huge compliment to the people who are making the show, because that means they were able to, correctly personify a character that isn't even human. The facial expressions are very human. They're very realistic as what you would expect other people to make. And of course, sometimes they aren't, but then again, it's also a cartoon, and that's one of the liberties they get. But overall, just watching the Double Rainbow Part 1 of 6 fan animatic, Twilight and Rainbow's expressions were hilarious all throughout. They're very spot on, from the focus points to where Twilight's concentrating on the flask, to the surprised look of frustration when Rainbow Dash pops out of nowhere. It's just very well executed, and I think we can expect a lot from this group in the future.
I'm gonna wholeheartedly agree with Vanacus here. The animatic is very well produced. It's very clearly thought through. This wasn't just something that they said, hey, let's make this cool little animation, and they just threw it together. This is something that somebody took some time to plan out and make look good and provide that tasty little morsel of goodness that they've given us in the animatic. Personally, I kind of thought the pacing was a little off. It seemed like there were some awkward pauses and some awkward moments. But then again, the audio, the music track, which I'm sure if they're trying to make an MLP style episode, will be there. They will have some type of background audio throughout it with rising crescendos for action and such. Since that isn't there yet, I'm sure that that's what we're missing as far as that slightly stilted pacing. There's a drum hit here, and that's what we're waiting on. But other than that, the voice acting is good enough for a fan product, especially at this early in production. The drawing is very on model, in my opinion. The storyline is believable. The characters are extremely realistic, as Vanacus mentioned. And dang it, it just looks good, and I want to see it done tomorrow. I know it won't happen, but I want it. I need something for my summer. Please give me something.
Yeah, we have a summer, and we're like, I want to see the rest of this. Because, what was it? We saw part 1?
It's pretty much broken into 6 segments, and into the segments that, a full-length episode would be. Usually they have the first segment, and then the intro and theme song, and then they have 5 segments broken in between 4 commercial breaks. That's usually the formula the show goes by.
So they've really done their homework to make it fit the style of the show. Give a teaser, give the title, go to commercial break, give some more good stuff, leave a cliffhanger like everyone always does, go to commercial break.
Now, they may not necessarily have commercials, but they have them broken up to the part that the different scenes flow as if they were to be aired on television.
Cough. Hasbro, if you want to, you can have it. Cough.
What I really like about this animation is that it shows that this is just a small group of people who are producing it. And when the fan material of the show eventually runs out, I know, horrible thing to think about, but it will happen one day. And when it does, this one group of individuals showed that they could produce their own episode that is very akin to what the original producers were able to release. That being said, I don't think we ever have to worry about running out of episodes. Because if for whatever reason, whether it be licensing or syndication, when Hasbro eventually stops producing the show, I think the fans will pick up where they left off. And that's incredible.
I will say I think that one of the reasons why it's possible is because it is done in Flash, and that's commercially available. Most people don't have, access to, send thousands of cells overseas. That's probably why something like this couldn't happen before. Just having the toolbox, available to the everyman kind of puts us one step ahead. And by us, I mean the talented people who are actually making the show, not me. I can't use Flash.
It's certainly interesting to see all these people coming in, and they're like, I like this thing. I'm going to make stuff for it. And the quality and the care and the, I don't want to say it, the love and toleration that we're all putting into our work, the passion that we're all using to create these wonderful works of art or games or videos or songs or written material, the amount of effort that people put into this for, no financial gain. I mean, of course, Hasbro's doing it to, sell their toys and make their money. But the fact that fans are doing it just because we like it. It's like, we like this. We want more of this. Let's make some. And I hope that Hasbro doesn't screw that up. Because right now we've got a good thing going. They like us. We like them. We're all happy, and I hope they don't screw it up. Hopefully they realize that, like, for example, the Transformers target demographic, to take the non sequitur, the Transformers target demographic can pay for their own toys. The My Little Pony target demographic cannot. It's the parents. Then again, I kind of do want to see Michael Bay's interpretation of a sonic rainbow. But
I hear the reputation with Transformers is not as sterling as far as fan relations go. So we'll see. They just can't have Michael Bay direct the My Little Pony movie. That's the important part here.
I still think the best part was when Rainbow Dash wouldn't let go of the little beaker, and Twilight's like shaking her to get off. It's like,
I just want to toss in my favorite part really quick was the camera work. Even in the animatic, where it's usually more limited in that kind of thing, they showed the nice zoom in, on Twilight as she was staring at that beaker there.
Or when Rainbow Dash knocks the beaker out of her hand and it flies in the air, and we get this 3D camera panoramic as it zooms up in a bird's eye view.
all right, hey guys, this is Vigilant again. Phoenix and I have a particularly interesting question regarding your potential reaction to an exciting event. Okay, let me set the stage here. You're sitting at home watching Radiant Eclipse, why not? When all of a sudden, outside your window, a sonic rain boom explodes. You're your normal self, and no military aircraft were scheduled to pass by, so it's not, the military blowing stuff up as usual. So here's the question. What do you do? What is your first reaction? What are the repercussions of this astounding event?
Well, the first thing I would do is my jaw would probably drop, and then I would use both my arms to pick it up and place it back and socket it correctly back into my face. What would my first reaction? Well, it would be amazing, seeing as all the ponies had life-altering events when they witnessed it. All of them matured into the ponies they are known for in the future because of this miraculous event. I would say there would probably be a large silence of everyone in their rooms as everyone just stared as they watched in awe of the amazing event. And I would be speechless. And that would be my first reaction. What would be the repercussions? Well, a lot of people would be talking about it, and if I was doing a live event at this time, I would have lost everyone's attention, including my own. I don't know, it would definitely be in the news. It would be newsworthy. Breaking the spectral barrier is no small feat.
what My Little Pony FIM fans are calling a sonic rain boom has just occurred over the New York state area. Correction, what has started in New York City has now occurred all over the earth, reaching from continents of Australia to Asia. We are now witnessing a mass explosion of what is called the sonic rain boom.
How do you not work in news?
If only we had Joe Stevens in on this, because this is exactly the kind of stuff they report on EQI.
This was the China report. It was, except that involved tacos.
Shout out to Equestria Inquirer, you guys rock. We love having you on the show.
Yay, EQI! I will finish your song soon, I promise. Anyways, to answer my own question, probably the first thing that would happen would be I'd probably be on EFR chat, and I'd say, did anyone else see that? Because I know Chaotic Harmony's in Texas, I'm in Texas, we're all a bunch of Texan bronies. And I'd be like, did you see that? And he'd probably say yes, and then we'd all just kind of be like, whoa, that just happened. Repercussion-wise, certainly we'd all be, I guess, more confident in ourselves as far as being bronies. We'd be like, well, this did just happen. We have seen this. We associate it with something very strong to our faith, and I use faith sparingly. I don't like to use that word. But, this is something important to us. This is something very core to our beliefs as bronies. And, it's kind of one of those things that if you were to see that, you'd be like, okay, I think this is a sign that we're accepted. Let's roll with it.
And then everyone realizes that Hasbro may be spending just a little bit too much money on advertising. Even though I personally could care less about tattoos, if I saw that, that would probably be the day to get one.
I'm surprised no one else would have checked for cutie mark. I mean, probably get my first tattoo if that didn't happen. First reaction, just, well, magic is real. Excellent. Life's going to get a whole lot better after Exactly. So that'd be a big game changer. Repercussions? Are we talking like global, like 1984 repercussions here, or just like personal? I think it would be interpreted as a military action, and things could get real, so to speak. But assuming that doesn't happen, I would say peace and kindness would reign all over the land, and things would be great. No need for fighting anymore. Pretty much, through ponies. Ponies for peace.
Ooh, I like that name.
What I would do is I would stare at that, my hair would explode, and I would smile. And I'd probably call one of my Brony friends, and I'd be like, bro, did you see that? He'd probably call me. Yes, sir. Yes, I did. And the repercussions,
globally, the internet would probably crash, just from everyone contacting each other simultaneously.
You guys know Anonymous? There would probably be Ne'er-do-well. Something like that. It would just hack every computer saying, we are real, we are Pony.
Expect us.
Actually, what I would do is, I would go on a search for Princess Luna. Because if that's real, then I'm searching.
It could be like an EMP. It could destroy all technology, throw us back to the Ponyville age.
I would not actually complain about that.
On that topic, they don't have washing machines, but they do have video games. Why is this? Priorities. Also, they don't wear clothes very often, so that is a valid argument. So aside from everyone wanting to go out of their way to contact their friends and being amazed by its sheer epicosity, what else can we say about this event? I think a lot of us would be curious how it happened, and on the off chance that it is mistaken as a military event, what then? I mean, can any country claim they were responsible for the event?
Somehow, some camera is going to see it, and everybody's gonna fight over that tape. Not to mention that once they find it, they're gonna try to slow it down as much as possible to see what's in front of that thing.
Probably first thing is it a rocket, and should we be concerned?
And then the second thing is what's that blue pony doing up there?
That would probably be one of the conspiracist theories of the event.
They'd probably try to explain it away because a rainbow, when viewed from like a plane at a certain angle, actually is circle, right?
I've seen it firsthand. It is beautiful.
So, they might just try to sweep it under the rug, so to speak.
Certainly, if this were to happen, the biggest question is it Rainbow Dash? Is it connected to Equestria in some way? Or is it just strange? Did it just happen and no one knows why? Okay, that just happened. Now what do we do? What was it? And I think the investigative power of Bronies as a whole would be able to figure that out rather quickly.
And if not, use it as a mass pony marketing tool to get more to join the herd.
This is never a problem.
It is that time where we wrap up the show. Before I go into our mandatory and obligatory shout out to those wonderful people who make the show possible, I was hoping you guys could plug your wares and let us know what you guys are up to. So if anyone's interested in your work, they can find some way of contacting you in the future.
I'm Vigilant Watch. I'm doing a show with Chaotic Harmony and a bunch of other bronies. It's going to be, hopefully, we're very work in progress at this point. The show is called Reading Rainboom. We're hoping to air on EverFree Radio. It's a fan fiction and film fiction reading show involving a lot of the voice actors from shows like the Epic Blank Time series. Again, we don't know when it's going to air. We don't know if it's going to air, but we're very hopeful, and we hope you would tune into our show when and if it starts airing.
All right, we'll probably promote it and or get you on for an interview when that does happen, so be expecting that.
My name is Lockout Phoenix. I am not exactly too, much known in, YouTube or EFR kind of community, other than the chats, but I am a gamer all in all for Xbox 360, and I would always love to play with a bunch of bronies, Halo, Battlefield, and a bunch of other games that I have. But if you want to contact me on Xbox Live, my gamer tag is Lockout Phoenix, LOCK0UT, space PHOENIX. Hope to see you on Xbox.
Hey, this is Bossman John again. I guess the best way to find me would be my YouTube channel, Bossman John 1, the number 1, not typed out, all is one word. And then the website for the game, of course, is pony-fantasy-6.com. And that's where, obviously, you find the game, tools I use to make it, and the updates. I don't really play anything online, but if I ever did have a screen name, I would probably share out on one of those 2 locations.
Everyone, don't forget to check out our site's other great programs, like Stay Brony My Friends by Dusty Cat. If you're on the West Coast like me, you can tune into his amazing program every Monday at 5 p.m. Pacific Date Time. After that, go and tune in to Equestria Inquirer on Wednesdays during the same time. I've tuned into both of these programs and can assure you they are more amazing than you can comprehend. Be sure to tune into the Sketchy Sounds Live Songcast every Thursday at 2 p.m. Pacific. He's a great musician, and if there's any music you want to hear him play live, join the chat and send your requests. But wait, there's more. Then, on the same day, at 7 p.m. Pacific, Tune in to the Brony Breakdown. It's a live stream show hosted by Saberspark and Paleo. Each week they will discuss happenings during the previous week, from the comings and goings of voice actors to major events in the fandom. They strive to keep you updated on what is going on in the community. And if you guys want a show that's similar to our own, but specializes in cool media like artwork, music, and videos, be sure to add this new program to your agenda. You won't regret it. And every pony loves Fridays, and so does your Queen of the Night, Nightmare Moon. Join her as she takes over alongside the Lunar Republic at 4 p.m. Pacific, as viewers like you directly request your favorite songs from various Brony musicians. And to finish off this week, before you hear from us again on Sunday, tune in to A State of Brony at 1 p.m. Pacific on Saturday, and listen to the best trance, house, and electronic music in all of Equestria. If you have any questions or would like to join this program as a co-host or guest, you can contact me on my official website, vanacus.com. That's vanacus.com. We're always looking for new speakers, and if you have the passion, I look forward to working with you in the future. Thanks for your time. See you online.